Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
On this Sunday afternoon, people filing into Great American Ballpark. This is a fireworks weekend. This is a Labor Day weekend. This is a baseball weekend here at Great American. It's the finale of this series, the Reds and the Brewers, here on Fox Sports Ohio. And a pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Along with Chris Welsh and Jim Day, this is Jim Kelch. Welcome, as always, to Cincinnati Reds baseball. Well, the Reds trying to avoid being swept by this Milwaukee club here today after dropping both ends of the day-night doubleheader yesterday. Chris, when things are going the way they have gone recently for this Reds team, and really most of the year for this Reds team, you look for silver linings, and one of them is a young man who's playing out in left field today, Ivan DeJesus
Well,
Jr.
Not a lot of people even knew that Ivan DeJesus Jr. was in spring training. He came in late. It didn't seem like he was making a big splash. There was a lot of talk about other extra players in camp, but when he got a chance to play after being recalled from Louisville, he has really taken advantage of it. You've seen what he's done here at Great American Ballpark. He may not be the future for the Reds in left field. I don't think he's even, thinking that he might be. But he's a guy that nearly was out of baseball. He almost was going to quit because he wasn't going to be in the major leagues. And here he is in the major leagues, etching himself out a really nice year this year. So you're figuring that all of a sudden now, at least in the forefront of being a utility player going forward at the big league level for the Reds.
Yeah, last year at this time we were talking about Christopher Negron in that spot. This year, Ivan DeJesus Jr. All right, let's turn our attention to the pitching matchup for this game. Michael Lorenzen, 2 starts back now, counting today since his trip down to AAA Louisville. That first one in Chicago, what did you think?
Well, he threw the ball really well, I think, especially down in AAA. He came back. The one thing Michael Lorenzen has in common nearly every one of his starts is the fact that he runs his pitch count up. And the Cubs did that to him. They fouled off a lot of balls. He was just unable to get through the at-bat in an efficient manner. And if you look up and down his game logs, the same thing goes. He pitches 5 innings, 90 pitches. He pitches 5 1/3 innings, 100 pitches. So he's got to figure out a way to get a 3-pitch out on a consistent basis, and that's the key to going deep into a ball game. Only 2 times this year has Lorenzen pitched into the 8th inning. We hope the 3rd time is coming up today.
His mound opponent today, the Reds have already seen him 3 times, having a very, very good second half, Jimmy Nelson.
Well, Jimmy Nelson's a big, burly guy, 6 feet 6 inches tall, nearly 250 pounds. He throws plenty hard enough. He came up this year with a wrinkle, and that wrinkle is a curveball that he had never thrown before, and he surprised a lot of people. Since the All-Star break, you see what he has done, 5-1 record. This includes a game 2 starts ago where he walked 8 batters in 3 innings. So 2 things the Reds ought to be looking for today. Number 1, make this young man throw strikes with his fastball and not get behind an account by swinging the pitches out of the zone. Number 2, watch the curveball, because Nelson's been using that as his put-away pitch.
All right, we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy Reds baseball on this Sunday afternoon. We'll step aside when we come back. Sixes are wild. Jim Day will explain.
Local 12 meteorologist Brandon Orr here with some good news after strong thunderstorms rolled across downtown Cincinnati yesterday. In fact, some lightning striking Great American Ballpark. That's something we will not have to deal with today, but we are left with more heat, more humidity. Temperatures are rising up into the low 90s. Enjoy the game on Fox Sports Ohio.
I'm Jim Day on the field. When you have two teams that are not in it in the standings, there are other things you look for that are on the line. It's part of our Elk and Elk storylines for today. And it's not only who you play, but when you play them. And the Brewers have been a hot team. 6-game winning streak. That's the second longest for them this season. The Reds would like to snap that and would particularly like to snap the Brewers' success here at Great American Ballpark. They've won their last 6 games at GABP, including a sweep of a day-night doubleheader yesterday. The Brewers have never won 7 straight in this ball game, so the Reds will be looking to stop that. And it hasn't been it's been a while since we've seen a stretch like this at home for the Reds. 2001 the last time. More than a week, though, to get better at home, at least on this homestand. Up next, it's Jim Kelch and Chris Welsh with all the play-by-play action of Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. Big weekend here in downtown Cincinnati. We keep our fingers crossed that today is a rain-free day. Boy, we've had some horrific rainstorms Friday night and then last night. Caused a delay here, caused a delay over at Nippert Stadium, but tonight the big fireworks show is part of Riverfest Cincinnati. Let's hope everything goes well today. And we'll start it right here at the ballpark as the Reds try to snap this losing streak against the Milwaukee Brewers. Here's the lineup put forth by Craig Counsell today. Scooter Gennett will lead off. He'll be at second base. Then Jonathan Lucroy does the catching. Ryan Braun is in right. Adam Lind, Chris Davis, Shane Peterson, the middle 3 in the Milwaukee 9. And then Gene Segura is the shortstop hitting 7th. Elian Herrera, the third baseman, batting 8th. And Jimmy Nelson, the pitcher, bats 9th. On the mound, making start number 19 for the Redlegs is Michael Lorenzen.
Well, the third time this year that Michael Lorenzen will be facing the Milwaukee Brewers. He's done it 2 other times, both here at home. In fact, he made his major league debut as a starter this year against the Brewers. That was back on April the 29th. He went 5 innings of 3-run baseball, and then he pitched against the Brewers on the day before the 4th of July. Went 4 innings of 3-run baseball. He hopes to better that. One thing that Lorenzen has been able to do is to flash a fastball from time to time that goes 95 to 96 miles an hour. More importantly, however, is placing that fastball in a spot where he gives a hitter a good chance to get him out. And getting him out is what obviously is on his mind today as he nears the end of this 2015 campaign.
He's ready. So is Scooter Gennett. First pitch of the game on the way, and it is fouled back. And we are underway from GABP. 87 degrees here in downtown Cincinnati as we get this, the 135th game of the year started for the Reds. Gennett comes in hitting .270 with 6 home runs. He's driven in 29. He had 3 hits in the doubleheader yesterday, 2 of them in the nightcap, a game that was delayed in the middle of the 3rd inning for an hour and a half due to rain and due to that lightning strike that hit out in the outfield area here. Hit the lightning rod above the light standard, above the big scoreboard out in left field. You may have seen it on video last night or earlier today. You may have seen the picture in the Enquirer today. Gennett leads off this game with a base hit into left field. Here's what we're talking about from last night. That lightning strike. At that point, the umpire said that is enough. Off the field we go. Look at that. We were not here for that, but boy, people that were here said that was one of the loudest noises they've ever heard.
Wow. Pretty intimidating right there. Well, they got the game in. Unfortunately, the Reds came up on the short side of that. The Brewers, 6 in a row. They've swept the Pittsburgh Pirates 3. Then they come in here and they win 3 in Cincinnati, and they are looking to try to complete it here this afternoon. The one thing different that Michael Lorenzen has going for him today is the guy behind the plate, Ramon Cabrera, up from the minor leagues, a young catcher from Caracas, Venezuela, that is going to catch Lorenzen today. Is making his major league debut as a starter behind the plate.
You take a look back at the 3 starts that Lorenzen made down in Louisville after that recent demotion down there, and Cabrera was behind the plate in 2 of them. Now Cabrera will go to the mound to talk with Lorenzen. He actually made, talking about Cabrera, his big league debut as a pinch hitter in the 9th inning last night and flied out. He was named yesterday as the Mary E. Barney Award winner, the Louisville MVP for this season down at the AAA level.
Now, they had a great year at the plate hitting. He hit, I think, .290 for the bats this year, and pretty good offensive catcher. Hits both sides of the plate.
Young man who has labored throughout the minor leagues with a number of different organizations. Remember seeing him in spring training this year. Now here he is in the big leagues for the first time, getting a start. Got to be a big thrill for him. Brewers club stole 3 bases in the first game of the day-night doubleheader yesterday. They have not been a big-time stolen base club this year. There goes Gennett. They'll test the arm of Cabrera. Gennett in a rundown. Phillips has it. Tavado. They're running back toward Brandon, and Brandon puts the tag on. And that'll go down as a caught stealing. Yesterday, Chris, we saw almost that same kind of thing.
I'm not really sure what happened like this. Gennett gets about halfway, looks back, and stops. I wonder if perhaps it was a hit and run, but it was a long rundown that was finally ended by Brandon Phillips taking it and tagging Gennett going back to first base. So far so good.
Scoring along, that goes 2, 4, 3, 6, 4. Tag put on by Phillips. Back to the windup goes Michael Lorenzen with a 2-2 count on Lucroy. Lucroy starts the game at .257 with 7 home runs. hitless yesterday. Played in the first game, went 0 for 5. That ended a career-long 11-game hitting streak for the Milwaukee catcher. Bourgeois backpedals and will make the catch of this line drive. 2 out. Take a look at the Reds' defensive alignment, brought to you by your Ford dealers. They line up like this afternoon. DeJesus, whom we talked about in the open, out in left field. Bourgeois in center. Bruce is in right. Frazier, Suarez, Phillips, Votto, third to first. A battery of Lorenzen and Ramon Cabrera behind the plate. There's DeJesus out in left field. He's been as busy out there as he has been anywhere. We highlighted the fact that he has hit very well here at home, Great American Ballpark this year. Lorenzen's going to have himself a 3-batter inning thanks to the caught stealing as Bourgeois handles that fly ball by Braun. Despite the base hit that started the game by Scooter Gennett, and so the Reds come calling now against his 26-year-old right-hander Jimmy Nelson, trying to get on the board early in this Sunday afternoon game here in Cincinnati. Take a look at the Reds starting lineup, brought to you by Meyer. Bourgeois, Frazier, and Votto at the top. Phillips, Bruce, and DeJesus Jr. in the middle. Suarez, Ramon Cabrera catching and batting 8th, and Michael Lorenzen pitching and batting 9th against the right-hander. As we mentioned earlier, the Reds have faced him 3 times this year, Jimmy Nelson.
Yeah, he's a big, strong kid, and he throws hard. He's 6 feet 6 inches tall as Jimmy Nelson, goes about 250. Young man from Niceville, Florida. And he was originally drafted by the Reds, by the way, but ended up going to University of Alabama. And the Milwaukee Brewers picked him out of the Crimson Tide baseball team, and a former #1 prospect in the Brewers organization. They're hoping that he blossoms into an ace of the staff type pitcher. He certainly has the stuff to back that up.
He gets Bourgeois to get things going here in the Reds first. Redlegs decked out in their red tops. Brewers in their dark blue tops today with their gray trousers. Reds with the splendid whites on here on the bottom. Nelson fields that comebacker, and Bourgeois is retired. Take a look at the Brewers defensively, brought to you by your Ford dealers. And Davis out in left field. The center fielder is Peterson. He started the second game yesterday. Braun is out in right. Herrera, who homered in both games of the doubleheader yesterday, is at third. Segura, Gennett, and Lind round out the infield. Jimmy Nelson being caught today by Jonathan Lucroy. Nelson 11 wins on the year with a 3.70 ERA. He gets Frazier, who's back in the #2 spot here this afternoon. Bruce has been up there for about 2 weeks. When asked about that prior to the game, Brian Price said just want to break up those lefties, Bruce and Votto. So Frazier back to #2, and Bruce hitting in the 5 spot today. a strike. Jimmy Nelson 2-9 a year ago with a 4.93 ERA, and this year, as Chris talked about, he has really shown signs of being a top line pitcher for this Milwaukee club.
Well, he was a top line pitcher in the minor leagues. In fact, in 2014, he was their minor league pitcher of the year in the organization. He was also the PCL pitcher of the year, voted to have the best breaking ball in the PCL as well. Of course, he's got a fastball. It's a big guy. You'd think he would. He averages in the mid-90s. But the interesting thing really for Nelson is that he came into camp this year and he had worked over the winter on a brand new pitch, and that would be a curveball. He had never thrown it before. It was a self-taught pitch. He came into camp throwing it, and they were wowed in Maryvale, Arizona, where the Brewers train.
Tapper to third. Herrera's got a bare hand and throw, and he gets Frazier.
Does it the hard way, but gets it done. When at all possible, you teach infielders to use your glove to scoop the ball, then transfer it to your throwing arm. Sometimes infielders feel like they don't have time to do that. Maybe Herrera thought that, and he made the nice play. The key, though, is to watch that ball right into your bare hand.
He's been getting, talking about Herrera, most of the playing down at third, playing time down there since the big trade that sent Aramis Ramirez back to his original team, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Here now is Votto with 2 men out. Joey yesterday, 3 hits in 7 at bats, walked twice, both in the first game. Comes into the day now climbing the ranks. He's up to 5th in the league in hitting at .317 with 27 homers, 70 RBIs.
It's really interesting to watch hitters and the timing mechanisms that they use to get themselves ready to hit. I've heard hitters describe it almost as a click. They move back and forth. They get a little rhythm in the batter's box. Their hands are moving, and all of a sudden, as the pitcher is getting ready to release the ball, they feel a click and they're ready to hit. Watch Votto. He has a little bit of a up and down movement with his hands right before he's ready to go. And that is his time to tell himself he's ready to swing the bat or not, of course, depending on how he reads the pitch. Everybody has a little difference. Some guys go up there with very little movement at all. Other guys like to move all over the batter's box.
You see that familiar choking up when he gets the 2 strikes?
He does it all the time now, but maybe a little bit more with 2 strikes. I mean, at first it started with 2 strikes, but Votto now, especially when he faces pitchers that have good fastballs, he goes up there choking up already. In fact, I can't remember the last time I've seen Votto way down there on the knob of the bat. I think he feels like there's more control. If you go back, you know, one of the best home run hitters of all time, Barry Bonds, choked up all the time. And right now, Votto is in a Barry Bonds type of a streak, which is the opposing team simply not getting him out. And rather than let him change the score of the game with 1 swing of the bat, they take a 2-out walk.
The 119th walk of the year for Joey Votto, leads the big leagues in that department. He's trying to lead the league for the 4th time in his career, for the 4th time in the last 5 years in walks, and he will probably set a career high. 2 years ago, 135 walks is a career high for him. Here he is now with 119 with 4 weeks to go.
Pretty amazing. I mean, what you're looking at is really history in the making right here.
And you are hearing his name now brought up in the MVP conversations with Bryce Harper, Paul Goldschmidt, Zach Greinke.
Which is almost unheard of when you're talking about the team he's playing for is in last place, already eliminated from contention to win the division title.
Now Lucroy will go out and have a little conversation now with Jimmy Nelson. Well, you touched on it, Chris, in the open. Since the All-Star break, Jimmy Nelson has been very, very good.
And that is even includes 5-1, and we showed you the numbers at the very onset of the game during our open. But I mean, that is even with the game before last that he pitched. He went 3 1/3 innings and he walked 8 batters. I mean, something happened in his delivery, and they tell me who were at that ball game said he wasn't even close. I mean, he was throwing the balls to the screen. It's kind of funny. We're going to have a chance to watch 2 young right-handed power pitchers today, Nelson and Michael Lorenzen. And they both do things well because they're gifted athletes. They both throw hard, but their deliveries are really different. In as much as Nelson is a little bit herky-jerky, he's much faster in his tempo when he gets it going. And what is good for the herky-jerky as far as deception is bad for control. And what is good for the smoothness and the repeatability and the simple windup for Michael Lorenzen, you can repeat it and get good command and good control, you would think, but it also makes it easier for the hitter to time. So both of these pitchers are looking for the right level in which to combine, you know, deception and control.
Now Phillips gets ahead, 3 balls and a strike. Brendan saw his 7-game hitting streak come to an end in the nightcap last night when he went 0 for 4. He also reached base when he had that base hit in the 9th inning of the first game yesterday. He had reached base 8 consecutive times. That came to an end in his first AB yesterday in the nightcap. Still starts the day at 292. With Votto going, a base hit into center. Joey will turn the corner. He'll end up at third. On a 3-1 pitch, Votto on the move. Phillips singles into center. First and third with 2 out.
Well, a little bit of 2-out lightning going on here with the Reds. A 2-out walk and then a 3-1 pitch that gets in on Phillips a little bit, but he's able to handle it to get it into center field. Votto was running on it, so he already automatically ends up going there at third base.
Phillips continues his assault on the 300 mark. Votto now over at third base. Chance for the Reds to jump in front early in this game, as they did in the first game yesterday when they scored 2 in the second. Here's Bruce. This has been a tough spot for him to hit with runners in scoring position this year, and in particular with runners in scoring position 2 out. On the year, he's hitting 197 with runners in scoring position and only 155 in that same situation with 2 men out. And he sits at 72 RBIs.
Jimmy Nelson is a guy that really has handled right-handers much better than he's handled left-handers. You see the averages there. I mean, 100 points separate the two, and you've got Jay Bruce at the plate, but he's down at an 0-2 count and kind of in somewhat of a personal doldrum, and we have seen him up and down throughout his career. You just hope that maybe he puts a good swing on it and starts something good.
First baseman, Jeanette will dive, the throw, safe the call at first, run scores, Reds take a 1-0 lead. There goes Phillips hustling over to third, no time had been called. Jimmy Nelson and the first baseman Adam Lind were talking with the first base umpire over there, Toby Basner, and Phillips, aware of that, hustles over to third base. The Brewers will take a look at this. Craig Counsell on the top step of the dugout.
Well, interesting play right here, because the mix-up was after Jeanette makes a nice play, who's he going to throw to? And it was nearly obstruction on the part of the pitcher, Jimmy Nelson. It happened after the play was already made. And they're taking a look at it. We're taking a look at it. As after the bag, there's no obstruction because Bruce is not going to second base. So Toby Basner, the first base umpire, signals safe. I'm not sure how he was able to figure out whether there was anybody's foot near the base bag.
Craig Counsell and Mike Guerrero, he's their first base coach, over there on the steps of the dugout talking to their video person in the clubhouse as to yay or nay. Do we or do we not challenge? He's going to come out.
Yeah, they're going to ask for a challenge on that. The guy on the horn in the dugout is Jerry Narron. I'm not sure who their video man is, but he took a quick look at it, and it was an odd play. You know where you often see the obstruction play is when a pitcher is covering in the same situation like that, but you actually run into the runner before he gets to the bag. If that had been the case, it would have been obstruction, and then Jay Bruce would have been awarded first base because it would have been a type A obstruction. But it was after the base. Already the play had committed, so all we determine now is whether the ball was there in time and the foot on the bag and out or safe.
So we get Jerry Davis, who's the crew chief, and we get Toby Basner, the first base umpire who made the call, over there checking it out with New York. Right from that angle, you can't tell, really.
I'll tell you, you could almost still, if you're Brian Price, ask for an obstruction call on Jay Bruce because it looked like he had to slow down before he got to the base by colliding with the pitcher. You can only protect one player on a field like that as far as making the play on the runner. So you can't protect both the pitcher and the first baseman. One guy can start interference for the next. It'll be interesting the way that they sort this one out.
If they overturn that call, could he then come out and argue that it was obstruction?
I don't know if that's a reviewable call or not, but it's certainly worth a shot. If you're Brian Price, it means a run, because if the out is recorded at first base, inning is over.
The reviewable plays list that we are given does not list obstruction on there, but I'm just wondering if Brian Price, after this call, if it goes against the Reds, could then come out and say, wasn't that obstruction?
And then he could ask the umpires to convene.
Correct.
And one of the umpires would say, all right, did anybody see anything else? So
if the call stands, the Reds have taken a 1-0 lead. If the call is overturned, the inning would be over, and then we'd wait and see if Brian decides to come out and ask for a possible obstruction call. Because I could see what you were talking about with Bruce approaching first base there. It looked like he did slow down a little bit. So while all this is going on, Jimmy Nelson warming up out on the mound. Looks like they're ready. So the call stands, safe at first base. Give Bruce a hit and a run batted in and a 1-0 Reds lead. Bruce credited with an infield single, his 73rd RBI. Votto scores. Phillips hustled over to third when the Brewers were arguing the call at first base. So an opportunity now for Ivan DeJesus Jr. to add to the Reds' first inning lead. Hitting .255 with 4 home runs. Jesus Jr. started, played third base in the nightcap last night, went 1 for 4. Pinch hit in the opener and struck out in the 8th inning. Bruce takes off. Fly ball to right will be handled by Braun, and the Reds settle for 1. The infield hit, the call challenged, the call on the field stands. 1-0 Reds. Friday, September the 11th during Police and Fire Appreciation Night. Arrive early for special pregame ceremonies, plus stick around then after the game for a postgame fireworks show presented by Corson Fire and Security. Tickets start as low as $12, and you can get those by calling 513-381-RED. You can visit select Kroger locations, or you can go to reds.com/tickets. That's Friday, September the 11th. Salute Our Heroes Night, Police and Fire Appreciation Night. That'll be the Redlegs and the St. Louis Cardinals here at Great American Ballpark. Lorenzen has a lead with which to work now as he goes to the mound here in the top of the second. He gets the middle three in the Milwaukee order: Adam Lind, Chris Davis, Shane Peterson.
Well, Lind has been the guy who has been a one-man wrecking crew for the Brewers this year against the Reds. 4 home runs, 16 runs batted in 15 games, and a batting average near 400. And he quickly gets to a 3-0 count.
He didn't start in the first game yesterday, but he had that big pinch hit, base hit in game 1. A 2-run double in the 6th inning.
Well, that's just, if you want to pitch at the major league level, you can't allow the momentum of the ball game to shift so dramatically after your team sweats and digs and grunts and scratches to get 1 run in. And then you go out on the very first batter and you walk the leadoff hitter on 4 pitches. After 2-0, it's time to take a walk around the mound, retie your shoes, pick up a rosin bag, and get all the negative thoughts out of your mind and go right after the hitter. And Lorenzen just unfortunately has thrown now 5 pitches out of the strike zone in a row.
And so he will get a second visit already in this game from Ramon Cabrera, the catcher. And you see his walks per 9 this year. Over 5 walks per 9 innings. That's a list that you do not want to be on.
Well, it's a kind of list that if you're an unproven pitcher in the major leagues, that is the quickest way to be sent back out. And of course, it won't happen to Michael Lorenzen no matter what happens here, because the AAA team is out of game starting tomorrow. But I mean, he really ought to have enough confidence in his stuff, because he's got a very good arm. Just go ahead and let it loose in the strike zone and see what happens. It seems like young pitchers get hurt with walks, and older pitchers get hurt by getting the ball hit off of them.
Bruce chasing this ball off the bat of Davis, and it's a foul ball. He couldn't get it, and luckily for the Reds, it's foul.
And what I mean by that is, if you look at pitchers that have been around a long time, you know, a guy like Danny Herron, he doesn't throw anywhere near as hard as he used to. And this is not just Danny Herron, but a lot of pitchers out there that have had really good major league careers. They've realized along the way that if I'm going to hang around up here, and even if I begin to lose my fastball or lose a snap on my breaking ball, I still have to throw strikes and command my pitches. And sometimes you learn it too late. Good pitch right there for Michael.
He comes right at Davis and gets him on 4. Gets his first strikeout. And we saw the graphic. Over 5 walks per 9 innings at the big league level this year. And yet when he has pitched at AAA, he's walked only 8 in 43. So less than 2 per 9.
The strike zones might be slightly smaller at the big league level, but the hitters are way better. And they're not chasing pitches out of the zone. And this is where, if you're a pitcher and you're having a hard time with your command, is that you have to be your own pitching coach out there. You have to go back to the things that your pitching coaches have told you along the way that are mental anchors to kind of help you get to the right spot. You know, the same way Joey Votto has a certain timing mechanism in his setup before he's ready to swing, pitchers have that same thing. And it could be different for everybody. One guy it might be to get your foot down. The other might be keep your head still. The other might be flash the pocket of your glove to the home plate. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as you have the one thing that gets you lined up.
Lorenzen trying to take care of Shane Peterson here, who hit his first big league home run in the nightcap yesterday. DeJesus will handle this. 2 out. So after the leadoff walk to Lind, strike out of Davis, fly out of Peterson, and here's the shortstop Gene Segura.
Well, you got to figure that these players in this series are probably mighty tired. I mean, they're running on fumes right now after the day-night doubleheader yesterday, along with an hour-and-a-half rain delay, a rain out the other night where they still kept the ball clubs around for a couple of hours before they decided to call it.
Lionel handles that off the bat of Segura. Go after the walk. A relatively easy inning for Michael Lorenzen, who has hung 2 zeros thus far.
Weekends and one of the biggest days in Cincinnati, man. They are lined up to get their space on the river because it's the annual River Fest tonight, the Labor Day fireworks going off this evening, and there'll be estimated about 500,000 people, 500,000 will be down here on this night. Now, one of the traditions along with Riverfest is that every hour leading up to the fireworks on the day of, they set off fireworks on the hour. So they've already made an announcement in the ballpark prior to the game that at the top of each hour you are going to hear some very loud fireworks going off. I believe the umpires are on board. They're going to try to stop play. If not, it will certainly be loud, boys. About 14 minutes or so you're going to hear that.
Wouldn't that be something if the pitcher was winding up just as the fireworks were ready to go off, and all of a sudden the pitch out of the hand and the boom? Might be a little scary for the hitter. Suarez pokes this ball out to right center, but Braun will run it down. Here's Ramon Cabrera. Talked about the year that he had. Cabrera hit .290 this year with a couple of home runs, 35 RBIs at AAA Louisville, but even better than that after the break. .320 after the All-Star break down at Louisville for Cabrera. Mentioned that Cabrera was the Mary E. Barney Award winner, signifying the MVP in Louisville this year. Bourgeois last year, Greg Reynolds, J.J. Hoover, Devin Mesoraco, Zach Cozart. So a pretty good list right there of players who have gone down to AAA Louisville, done very well, then come up to Cincinnati. remember Greg Reynolds, the veteran pitcher, do that very good game out in Colorado against his old teammates, the Rockies, a few years ago. 2-2 now on Cabrera, 25 years old. Bounced around in the minor leagues with the Pirates, with the Detroit Tigers organization, this year with the Reds. Finally getting a chance here in the big leagues late in 2015, and he strikes out there for out number 2. Just a reminder that as you enjoy the game here this afternoon, look forward to passing along a little bit later on our Miller Time moment of the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Two out for Lorenzen. Has been more than respectable at the plate this year. With 8 hits, 267 average. The stop in Cincinnati for the Brewers, part of a 10-game road trip that they're on. They'll go from here down to Miami, play 3, back up to Pittsburgh, play 4 before they return home. And on their next homestand, the Reds will be part of that. Reds will stay home after the day, have the Pirates in for 3. It's an interesting series for Pittsburgh, at least in terms of getting here, because they play tonight against the Cardinals in St. Louis and then play a day game here tomorrow. That's something you don't see very much.
Well, you're right, and really what you're talking about is a late arrival for the Pirates. It could be anywhere between, say, 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. by the time the Pirates get to their hotel here in Cincinnati, only to have to be at the ballpark, you know, the next morning. They usually get here early, the players do, you know, 9 or 10 in the morning. So there won't be much sleep action tonight for the Pittsburgh crew.
Jeanette throws out Lorenzen, and the Reds go in order from the bottom of the second. This play last night, Chris, with Bartolo Colon, the ageless wonder, taking a book out of the Brandon Phillips page with that behind-the-back flip.
It just goes to show you, in his spare time, he's watching Fox Sports Ohio. He says, hey, if Phillips can do it, I can too. And some people were amazed that he was able to bend down to get to it.
They made a heck of a play, and they were able to get Justin Bohr at first base. Some of the other MLB news and notes to talk about: Carlos Gonzalez, first Rockies player to hit a home run in 6 straight games. How about Big Papi, third oldest player to hit 30 home runs in a season? Darrell Evans, man you were talking about earlier, Barry Bonds. And this is the big story, really, out of New York. Matt Harvey considers 180 innings to be his limit this season. A lot of that coming from the surgeon who did the Tommy John and his agent.
It's really unfortunate that this is playing out in public and in the newspapers, because really his agent is Scott Boras. And Scott Boras has come out in the paper and kind of blindsided the Mets with this by bringing this whole situation up, rather than going behind the scenes and talking to Sandy Alderson and kind of working this out so it didn't become front page or back page headlines in the New York newspapers. You know, there are a lot of examples of where surgeons and doctors who do the procedure and teams get together and they decide what the pitch count should be after somebody comes back from Tommy John surgery. And that is the case with Matt Harvey. You know, they did that a few years ago with Steven Strasburg in Washington, and it certainly hasn't had that work out. You know, overall, not too well, because Strasburg has since been on the disabled list several times, and that may have been the one time the Nationals really had a chance to use Strasburg. He was throwing the ball well, and shut him down, and the team suffered. So it's a mess right there when you throw that kind of a wrench into a team plans like the Mets, who are, you know, solidly in the playoff hunt.
Well, the Mets are contending, of course, that he's feeling fine, that they are consulting with their physicians, and that everything looks good to go for him to continue to pitch in the regular season and potentially into the playoffs if they make it. And they are the NL East division leader. But he's at 166 or so right now. He's pitching again on Tuesday. If they are told to shut him down, if his agent wants to shut him down, if he wants to shut down, he could conceivably be finished by the middle of September.
Right, and that's where the gray area starts between what is good for the player, good for the team, you know, what the agent's responsibilities are with regard to, you know, representing his player, to what the team is going forward and on, and it gets to be very sticky nowadays. You've got, you know, essentially agents sticking up for their players and teams trying to win pennants and trying to do the right thing for their player at the same time. It's not an easy decision to do. And then meanwhile, you know, it has not been scientifically or medically proven that 180 innings is the magic number. I mean, there was a day, I mean, it wasn't all that long ago, that pitchers were typically throwing, you know, 300 innings. And they were getting 40 starts a year because they were pitching in a 4-man rotation. And this was way before Tommy John surgery. And pitchers weren't falling off on the DL like they are now. So, you know, something's going on with the way the pitchers are being used, the way they're training, the way they're hurting themselves. And it's harming the game of baseball overall, as well as harming, obviously, the pitcher coming through the system.
Well, we'll sit back and watch and see how that all ends up unfolding with Matt Harvey and the New York Mets. Meanwhile, the Brewers go down in order on 7 pitches from Michael Lorenzen here in the 3rd. Pregame warm-up at the Jefferson Social at the Banks here in downtown Cincinnati. It's your chance to win great prizes and be a part of the action around the ballpark prior to first pitch. It all gets started this Thursday at 5 at the Jefferson Social Club. Reds leading 1-0 into the bottom of the third. We go to the top of the order against Jimmy Nelson. He's retired 4 in a row. In fact, he retired the first 2 in the game, then gave up the walk to Votto, the hit and run single by Phillips, and the infield single to Bruce, which was a close play at first base. Challenged by the Brewers. Call on the field was safe. The call stood. The Reds took a 1-0 lead. Talked about Nelson making this his 4th start against Cincinnati this year.
Well, this year, yeah, he's seen the Reds more than that. I think he's got a couple of more starts overall and a couple of relief appearances against the Reds. He's had a better second half than first half, even though that 4th of July win that he had only went 5 2/3, a little 5 and fly, picked up a W there.
Bourgeois to get it going here in the home third.
Nelson had some personal hooting to do, I guess, this morning when he showed up inside that Brewers clubhouse. He was originally drafted, as I said, by the Reds at a high school in Niceville, Florida, and he decided after being drafted in the rounds around 30th round or so that he didn't want to sign. He ended up going down to University of Alabama and pitching for the Crimson Tide, and of course I'm talking about him crowing about the Alabama Crimson Tide taking care of the Wisconsin Badgers last night. So I'm not sure how many of the hometown traveling party that goes along with the Brewers were probably happy about Nelson's alma mater beating up on the Badgers.
Well, I do know this, that there were some folks amongst the TV crew who had planned last night to watch the Alabama-Wisconsin game until the rain out on Friday, forcing them to work yesterday. They were not overly pleased about that.
Well, you and I were able to watch that.
We were able to watch it, among other games.
Yeah, and among other things, I ended up going to a beautiful restaurant last night. Brand new, just opened up, the Forno Osteria up in Hyde Park. It's one of Christian Pietoso's restaurants. And we saw Will and Brian and Vincent up there. The guys are working there. And what a great meal we had last night.
Had a good time.
Sure did.
Excellent.
I'll be back again, too.
And what football was your game of choice last night?
Well, I was watching. You know what? When there are 100 games on, can you just light on one?
No, you can't. You're right.
I watched Notre Dame for a while. They looked very impressive.
Bearcats, congratulations.
Obviously, yeah.
On their win last night. They had to start, what, an hour and 45 minutes late? Just like here when they had the hour-and-a-half delay in the Reds game, but the Bearcats ended up winning over at Nippert. Irish, a very impressive win. Jeff Brantley said earlier today, Mississippi State played late. They won. Kentucky, Jeff Pecora was in here earlier talking about the late minute heroics by the Wildcats last night. Louisville Cardinals not so fortunate against Auburn.
Now they got off to a very bad start. They were down 17-0, but made it very close.
Solid contact there, and a base hit to the warning track by Frazier. Played very deep out there by Chris Davis. Gets over, cuts it off, and holds Frazier to a long single.
Interesting you say that about playing deep, because just about all the outfielders in the Brewers defense play very deep. You know, you don't normally have, especially with Domingo Santana when he plays out there. Uh-oh. Must be 2 o'clock.
Indeed.
Well, the fireworks go off just after Frazier hits that double or that single down the line.
Well, let's see if the Reds can move Todd around, increase their 1-0 lead. Talked about Frazier and his stolen base numbers this year. He has 11 of them. Runners have been proven to be able to go on Nelson this year. Giving up 24 stolen bases. natural inclination is to think that the Reds would have fallen off in their stolen base numbers since Billy Hamilton's been on the disabled list. And they've actually maintained their lead. Did not steal a base in yesterday's doubleheader, but went into this series with 120, 5 more than the Diamondbacks for the lead in the big leagues. Votto drew a walk his first time, scored the game's only run. There goes Frazier. Throw is right on to the shortstop Segura. Frazier is out 2-6. Beautiful throw by Jonathan Lucroy.
Well, he really has interesting footwork behind the plate. They teach most catchers to square up, but when you have a left-handed hitter in there, you really have to kind of float to the left or the right-handed hitter's batter's box and then throw, and he gets rid of it. I think Joey Votto did him a favor there by kind of leaning back. You don't have to do that. I mean, your right to be in the batter's box doesn't change when a catcher's trying to throw a runner out. And I never really understand why hitters haven't been coached that. You see it even more often with a runner trying to steal third and a right-hand hitter up who ducks and lets the catcher throw right over the top of him.
You talked about that yesterday.
I just don't understand. Why are you helping the opposition by getting out of his way when you don't have to?
He'll take a good look now at this 3-2 pitch. And it is ball 4. The 2 walks issued by Nelson so far today. Both have gone to Votto. And that's a runner aboard with 2 out. Reminder that Verrett's home run hits the Toyota sign during this afternoon's game. Paul Callis from Oxford, Ohio, wins this beautiful new Tundra that's on display here at Great American Ballpark. You can register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Good luck today to Paul Callis from Oxford. There's the Toyota high above the Reds bullpen out in left center field. How about Votto now? 120 walks. Leading the National League, ahead of Harper, ahead of Goldschmidt. Brandon taking all the way, takes a strike. Those aren't just National League leaders in terms of walks, by the way. Look over in the American League side. Carlos Santana and Jose Bautista of Cleveland and Toronto respectively lead the American League in walks with 87.
Yeah, I think the other way to look at it is Votto plays every day. I mean, he runs the number of plate appearances that he has up at the end of the year among anybody in the league. I mean, he wants to play 162 games. But you can look at how many plate appearances between walks. And Votto is right around 5. And on the other end of the spectrum, you have Brandon Phillips batting behind him in the lineup. Brandon Phillips goes nearly 22 at-bats between walks. So you ask yourself, you know, is it just only the fact that pitchers are pitching around Votto, or is it the fact that he doesn't swing at pitches out of the zone? That one is not out of the zone. It's out of the ballpark.
Davis looks up. Home run, Brandon Phillips, number 11. And the Reds add to their lead. It's now 3-0 as he connects on the big fly right there against Jimmy Nelson. He gives up home run number 17 on the year.
Boy, Brandon has been awfully hot in this series. I mean, he is finishing this season with a flurry. He knows it right away. No bat flip right there, but he's got plenty of it to get out of here.
Kind of thing from a Milwaukee standpoint, that dugout and on the mound, and Nelson got to be very disheartening because he gets 2 out thanks to the caught stealing, nobody on, loses Votto, gives up the big ball to Phillips.
Yeah, but that's where walks are very important, is when you have somebody behind the guy that gets on base who could drive him in. And Brandon Phillips has been all over this lineup as far as where he bats, anywhere from leadoff all the way down to the number 4 spot. I mean, if Jay Bruce was having the kind of year that the Reds expected out of Jay Bruce at the beginning of the year, Joey Votto would be scoring a whole lot more just by virtue of being on base 50% of the time.
And he goes the other way here and gets his second hit of the afternoon.
Got to feel good for Jay getting a couple of knocks and 2 at-bats. Well, you're right about what's happened here to Jimmy Nelson, a guy that was nearly out of the inning after getting the first 2 out, or at least getting 2 outs before and then having nobody on base. And now you walk a batter, you give up a home run, you give a solid single to left field. All of a sudden your pitch count now is ratcheted up a little bit.
Now, the Reds don't want to lose sight of this Milwaukee club after the double loss yesterday here to this Brewers team. The Reds start the day 4.5 games behind them for 4th place in the division. Milwaukee's 60-75. The Reds 55-79. In fact, Milwaukee gunning today to get to the 500 mark since the All-Star break under Craig Counsell. Most of the time when a manager is fired, in the person of Ron Renicky here with an example, the team will name an interim manager and then go from there. But with the Brewers, they named Counsell as the manager in early May and signed him to a 3-year deal to run this club.
Well, he'd been working in the front office, and the interesting thing about Craig Counsell is the fact that he is from Milwaukee. You know, he went to Notre Dame. We've talked about that. He's an upstanding citizen in Milwaukee. So you hire kind of a hometown fan favorite, and that's all fine and good.
Segura makes the play, but then his flip to Jeanette is off the mark. Everybody's safe, and the inning continues for the Reds.
I was surprised Segura even got to that ball. Shows a lot of foot speed and a lot of range right there. Has to throw behind him and not able to get it on the mark. I mean, the good news is that you get Craig Counsell, and you know, he is evidently going to be empowered to have a voice in who is going to be the next general manager for the Milwaukee Brewers. He's going to have a voice in what the roster looks like, what the kind of trades they're going to make. I mean, he's going to be a powerful type manager rather than a guy who's only running the strategy on the field where most managers are. The bad news is, if it goes upside down at some point in the future, near or far future, you may have to fire Craig Counsell. And it'll be very difficult to do for all the reasons why you wanted to hire him. Hometown guy, played for the Brewers, knows the organization, and now it's tough to say goodbye.
That ball ruled as an error on Segura on the bad flip to the second baseman Jeanette that keeps the inning going. That's a fair ball down the line at third. Herrera going to throw late. Herrera, I think he thought that was a foul ball. Running on contact with 2 out was Bruce. Herrera had no play at him on third and then threw late to first.
Well, the hesitation by Herrera, I don't know if he thought it was a foul ball. He may have, but he comes up and he looks at the umpire, and then he realizes no chance for Bruce. Has a strong arm, but no chance after that delay to get Suarez at first. So now all of a sudden everything beginning to fall the Reds' way. Good time for Ramon Cabrera to pick up his first major league knock.
Reds have him at every base. 2 runs in via the 2-run homer by Phillips. Chance for a big inning here, and a smash to first handled by Adam Lind. Cabrera out. Inning is over, but the Reds add to the lead. Home run number 11 for Brandon Phillips has made it 3-0 Reds. Star Mondays presented by your Tri-State Chevy dealers. For all Monday home games, you can purchase a package of $25 and get a Reds ticket and an exclusive commemorative baseball featuring an MLB All-Star Game logo. Purchase your All-Star Monday ticket package today by visiting Reds.com/Monday. In fact, tomorrow, the 7th of September, against the Pirates, a 1:10 game is the last home Monday of this 2015 Reds baseball season. The Reds will be in San Francisco a week from tomorrow, in St. Louis 2 weeks from tomorrow, in Washington, D.C. 3 weeks from tomorrow on the 28th, and then it's over.
Well, that means Tuesday will be the last home bow tie Tuesday, right?
There's one more.
One more, all right.
Yeah, against the Cubbies. So you got 2 of those left. Get those cars washed.
Better believe it.
Reds win. You go on to Mike's Car Wash and get yourself a deal.
They better pick it up, especially on Tuesday, this Reds team. Maybe time for you to get in there and give them a little, do it for the old Gipper talk before the game on Tuesday.
You think I should?
Yeah.
You think that'd be all right? They wouldn't get mad or anything? You don't steer me wrong. Same with Jim Day. He doesn't steer me wrong either. So,
well, it might be more appropriate for Jim Day to do it, since he's so much more familiar with all the guys down there, and he has a certain amount of sizzle that is just waiting to come out.
I can't disagree with any of that. One of Jim's good friends, Brandon Phillips, will make that play and throw on to first. Well, you take a look now at what Michael Lorenzen has done since he walked Lind on 4 pitches to start the second. Retired the Brewers in order after that, set them down in order in the third, and now the leadoff man out here. So 7 in a row. 9 of the last 10 have gone down against Michael Lorenzen. Braun flied out his first time. It's about hit the Brewers now 6-1. Lead 3-0 here in the fourth. Braun, by the way, earlier this year became the franchise all-time leader in home runs. He now has 254. He surpassed Hall of Famer Robin Yount a little less than a month ago on the 19th of August against the Marlins with career home run number 252. Yount at 251. Braun sitting now at 254. There's the list. Prince Fielder on that list. Jeff Jenkins. Jeff Jenkins, they always used to compare him and Brett Favre, said they looked alike.
Very much so.
Maybe one made an appearance as Favre, and maybe Jenkins made it. Maybe Favre made an appearance as Jenkins sometimes. You never know. Braun strikes out. He looked back to make sure that Cabrera hung on to the ball, and he did. And Lorenzen gets his second strikeout.
That looked like a changeup out of the hand of Michael Lorenzen right there, and that's going to be a really good pitch for him. And you don't see that work very often. It is definitely a changeup, a little variation of a circle change, but you know, not too many right-handed pitchers throw that down and into right-handed hitters. I think where Lorenzen saw that work and worked very well was when Johnny Cueto was with this ball club. He used to do that quite often. And Lorenzen is a young man who really keeps his eyes and ears open. So we learn a little something from Cueto and put it into play.
He tries to get Adam Lind here and get through a second consecutive 1-2-3 inning.
He's still flying open just a little bit. Lorenzen is, and it's obvious on that last pitch right there. Every once in a while he'll lift his leg up, but he doesn't really get that knee up high enough to get him up over the rubber in a real power spot, and he starts kind of gliding towards home before he's ready. Hard to complain about a guy who's throwing a one-hit shutout right now. That's a little bit better, but the idea for a pitcher is to stay on top of that rubber just as long as you possibly can.
Lorenzen has walked one. He has struck out two. You see his pitch count at 45 here in the fourth. And he'll give up a second base hit here. This one to Adam Lind, who's on for the second time. That snaps the streak of 8 in a row by the Reds right-hander. Batter will be Chris Davis.
Thank you.
Votto looking at Phillips, who called for the ball. It was more in the vicinity of first base, but Brandon called. Brandon got it. Brewers finished in the fourth.
I'm Jim Day. Earlier this season, we told you that Todd Frazier was the Reds representative for the Heart and Hustle Award. It's given out by the Major League Baseball Alumni Players Association. And today, before the game, he got the award. Billy Hatcher providing the honors of giving him that award. And then after he was presented with the Heart and Hustle Award, which goes to the player that best gives you just what it says, heart and hustle on the field and off the field. He was also given a proclamation by Hamilton County designating this as Todd Frazier Day in Hamilton County. So, boys, happy Todd Frazier Day. I think you should go home and pound some fast food French fries and listen to a little Frank Sinatra to celebrate.
Now, you have to eat the French fries with the breakfast entree, don't you? Isn't that how that works?
He does that as well. French fries morning, noon, and night. But you got to have ketchup. That's his one catch. Got to have ketchup.
Now, for the rest of the day, we can just walk up to everybody and say, Happy Todd Frazier Day to you. Hope it's going well. Time's now you to tweet your strongest fan photo our way. Use hashtag #OhioDataStrongFan. Just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast with our fan photo of the game. It's all brought to you by T-Mobile. Again, the hashtag #OhioDataStrongFan. We'll have a photo of the game a little bit later. Top of the order now in Bourgeois, who is 0 for 2. Just thinking about Frazier and Todd Frazier Day, one of the more interesting pieces that we saw all spring was when Jim Day traveled with Todd Frazier around Arizona, the Phoenix area, and had the French fry eating identification test, where they grabbed about 5 or 6 different fries from different restaurants, and Todd was able to identify each and every one of them, even though they threw a trick in on it.
It's pretty amazing, really, what guys specialize in.
French fries.
And it was leave it to Jim Day to come up with an idea like that.
It's a good one. Jim Day and I may be able to do that with diners around the league. In fact, we've been talking a lot already. It's already still a week away from our trip to San Francisco, and one of our favorite diners of all time.
Which one is that? Lefty O'Doul's?
Lefty's is not a diner, but Lefty's is a good spot. The Pinecrest.
Oh, the
diner,
Pinecrest, yeah.
Right up the street from the hotel. Talking about getting our picture taken out in front.
Well, you could probably pass a test to identify like craft beers, wouldn't you? If we lined a few up, could you give us a chance?
Maybe, but I might be able to tell you it's a lager or a IPA, something of that nature, but not specific names of it. There's so many out there.
Yeah, right. Well, that would be better than most. And of course, the cowboy could probably close his eyes and give you the brand names of different types of ice cream.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. His palate, of course, only favors one type. There's good friends at UDF. Jim Day, on the other hand, he's a French toast connoisseur.
Did not know that.
So he could probably identify various French toasts from different restaurants.
I probably could. Chris Welsh, I'm wondering, could you be the expert on different types of kale or asparagus?
I knew that was coming.
That's a zinger of the day right there, Jim Day. That's a good one.
I guess if you give it out, you have to take it.
Playable for Lucroy. And the former All-Star makes the catch. Bourgeois is over 3, and there are 2 out.
Another long at bat, though, for Jason Bourgeois. Had a 13-pitch at bat the other day, and he has been able to extend the times that he's at the plate and make the pitcher work a little bit. I really like that part of Bourgeois' game.
Brian was talking today in his media meeting about missing Billy Hamilton in center field and qualifying it by, say, taking nothing away from the job that Bourgeois has done, because certainly offensively Bourgeois has held his own plus. He said you've come to expect so much out of Billy Hamilton in center field that any ball hit near him you expect to be caught. Billy played yesterday, had a hit in 3 at bats, scored a run, walked once down at AA Pensacola. Playing again today, and as you mentioned earlier, the minor league season ends for those not in the playoffs on Monday. Brendan Bosch played yesterday for the Louisville team, and he went 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. He'll play again today. Will throw out Frazier, and the Reds go in order in the bottom of the 4th. Ford, go further. By Meyer, find more for a healthier you at Meyer. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country on U.S. News and World Report's Best Children's Hospital. Here we have Frank Robinson, Ernie Lombardi, part of the many statues out front. Crosley Terrace here at Great American Ballpark. Of course, added this summer was the statue of Tony Perez. There's 7 now, 7 statues out there and counting. Michael Lorenzen, he's been in control so far in this one, hasn't he?
Yeah, don't look right now, but Michael Lorenzen is on the verge of pitching one of his best games of the year.
He gave up a leadoff single to Scooter Gennett in the 1st, a leadoff walk to Lind in the 2nd, the 2-out single to Lind in the 4th. 3 base runners thus far.
And he's doing it against a team that has really been on fire offensively. Well, he takes a big cut, Peterson does. You know, you mentioned that he hit his first home run last night. And it looks like every time he swings the bat, he's trying to hit number 2.
Yeah, that home run last night came in the 6th inning against Pedro Villarreal. Was the only run that he gave up in relief of Kivas Sampson. Peterson at the AAA level this year at Colorado Springs, having a big year, hitting .320, 47 games down there. He's been up here since early June.
I mean, just to look at that swing on a 3-2 count, I mean, he's flying wide open. He's letting it rip as hard as he possibly can. And, you know, I don't know, you know, you get home run happy sometimes when you hit a home run and you think, hey, every time up there I'm seeing the ball, maybe I can hit another one. The truth is that most guys hit home runs when they're not trying to. They're just trying to make good, solid contact.
Suarez makes the play to throw out Peterson, and a good start to inning number 5. Big inning for Lorenzen to get through here, isn't it? Against the Cubbies on Monday in his return to the big leagues. 4 runs, 4 hits in that inning. Was unable to get through it. Trying to get it done here. That game after 4, it was tied 1-1, and the Reds actually scored 2 in the top of the 5th inning, and a 2-run single by Phillips. But in the bottom of that inning, double, walk, 2-run double by Addison Russell. Later an RBI single by Kyle Schwarber. Lorenzen was unable to get through that 5th. Let's hope it's a different story here this afternoon. Sawed him off there. Oh, and a bare hand attempt at a pick there by Suarez. Cannot come up with it. Segura has himself an infield single, the 3rd hit of the game for Milwaukee.
Well, no guarantee when you make a good pitch you get a good result. That time you could hear the bat snap in the hands of Gene Segura. He runs well, and that's why Suarez is trying to make that bare hand play. That's a tough play.
Well, the Brewers have a base runner with 1 man out. Back to the stretch goes Lorenzen. Elian Herrera, big day yesterday for the switch hitting infielder. Today 0 for 1 with a ground out. Yesterday game 1, 2 for 5, including that solo home run the start of the 8th against J.J. Hoover that broke the tie. The game after 7, the Reds had scored a run and evened things at 6. His home run to start the 8th inning gave the Brewers a 7-6 lead. They went on to win 8-6. And in the nightcap last night, another multi-hit game, 2 for 5, 3 RBIs, including a 3-run 9th inning homer. Here he singles into right, so back-to-back hits by Milwaukee bring the tying run to the plate in the 9 spot. Jimmy Nelson.
Well, Now, the Brewers are one of the worst teams in the National League when it comes to pitchers runs batted in. The Reds are in the second best team in that particular category. The Mets have driven in, their Mets pitchers have driven in 24. The Reds pitchers have driven in 17. Brewers pitchers have driven in 5 all year long. And they're going to have him bunt to move the runners up. Obviously, what Nelson wants to do right here is dribble that ball down the third base line and make sure that Frazier fields it. Meanwhile, I imagine that Lorenzen's going to be busting towards that line.
You get the out at first. The sacrifice executed by Jimmy Nelson. So second and third now with 2 out. And the most popular way to follow the action of Reds baseball is with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, live radio broadcasts, and more. Get the MLB.com at bat app right now. So now for Milwaukee, Scooter Gennett is on the hot seat. Runners at second and third with 2 men out. Reds trying to protect a 3-0 lead here in the 5th.
Now, this is one area where the Brewers have been pretty good this year overall as a team. Batting with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. They're 4th in the league behind the Giants, Pirates, and Rockies at a .256 batting average. The Reds are 15th in the league with a .186 batting average in that situation. The only team in the National League batting below .200.
Gennett won't get it done here. Bourgeois settles for this fly ball in center. And a nice job by Michael Lorenzen. He hangs his 5th 0 of the afternoon.
The Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Pretty good crowd here on this Sunday afternoon. Reds baseball against the Milwaukee Brewers. Reds trying to salvage one of this 3-game series and trying to beat this Brewers club remarkably here at Great American Ballpark for the first time since the 28th of April. They've lost 6 straight games here against the Brewers dating back to the 29th. Yet they have, counting this game, 4 games remaining against Milwaukee. If they can somehow manage to win all 4, they could actually still win the season series against the Brewers. They still have 3 to go up there. The batter now will be Joey Votto to get things started here in the bottom of the 5th. And you were talking about his approach versus Phillips' approach, walks and at bats between walks earlier.
Yeah, was it just pitchers pitching around Votto, or was it other hitters on the team chasing pitches outside the zone? And we've got a graphic that'll show you, and we just use Brandon Phillips as an example because he's batting behind Votto in the lineup, and we'll show you that in a moment. Very interesting, and Votto swings at the pitches in the zone, and that's really what this is all about. The percentage of swings of pitches outside the strike zone. You can see Votto is less than 20%, Brandon Phillips at 36. They both swing about the same at pitches that are in the zone. But it's those pitches that you chase are the ones that pitchers want you to chase. And of course, when you chase one outside the zone, you don't get a ball and you don't get a walk. And this is the main reason why Joey Votto, that 19%, walks more than anybody else in the National League. By the way, we have the player in the National League who is the most difficult to walk, who swings at the most outside the zone in the game today, playing shortstop for the Brewers, and Gene Segura. And we've seen this happen I don't know how many times this year, where a pitcher gets out ahead of Joey Votto 0-2, and then the next time you look up in the scoreboard, it's 3-2. Nibble, nibble.
Comes at him here at 1-2. Joey strikes out. Out number 1 here in the 5th inning.
Really not all that many strikeouts for a guy that throws as hard as Jimmy Nelson does. That is his 3rd on the afternoon. He picked off Cabrera, then Bourgeois, and now Joey Votto on a 95-mile-an-hour heater.
Here's Phillips. Perfect day thus far. Single in the center, a 2-run homer in the 3rd. Giving him now 11 home runs, 55 runs batted in, and he is pushing the 300 mark at 295 as he enters this AB. Labor Day weekend continues here tomorrow. Tomorrow, actually, Labor Day. And the Pittsburgh Pirates will be here. We mentioned earlier they're playing in St. Louis tonight. They will come at the Reds as one of the hotter teams in Major League Baseball, with 3 straight left-handers tomorrow. Starting with Jeff Locke and Francisco Liriano, and then Jay Happ. Monday afternoon, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. This is the Pirates team that had terrific June, terrific July, terrific August. Still, having said all that, they are still having a tough time catching that Cardinal club. Cardinals will be in after the Pirates. So this is an all National League Central homestand. That's going to be the 3rd hit of the A for Brandon Phillips. A 4-hit game in the first game of the doubleheader yesterday. 3 more in this game. Hit number 7 for the Reds. Here's Bruce now. He has a couple of hits already today. Jay closing in on an interesting grouping. Players in Reds history to produce at least 1,000 hits and 200 home runs in their careers. Bruce at 201 home runs and at 998 career hits. As he enters this at bat, he would be Only the 6th player in Reds franchise history to accomplish that feat. Joining Johnny Bench, Tony Perez, Frank Robinson, Ted Kluszewski, and George Foster. Bruce with 998 hits, 201 career home runs. We could see it later this year. And if we don't, certainly next year, Joey Votto will join that group. He has 1,201 hits going into today. 190 career home runs. An elite group, to be sure. You're talking about 3 baseball Hall of Famers in Bench, Perez, and Robinson, and 2 Reds Hall of Famers in Kluszewski and Foster. One out to right center. He's going to add to his hit list. He's going to add to his home run total. That's a 2-run shot for Bruce, his 20th of the year, and it is now 5-0 Reds.
The Reds have been waiting for a day like this out of Jay Bruce for quite a while now. Got dropped down the batting order, and Jimmy Nelson gives him a slider that is more like a cement mixer than a breaking ball. That ball just hangs right there up around the letters, and all Jay Bruce has to supply is the sweet spot.
3 hits today, 999 hits in his career. 1 hit away from joining that 1,000 hit, 200 home run club. Gets to the 20 home run plateau now with 3 RBIs today, 75 runs batted in this season.
That is Jay Bruce's 3rd home run since the end of July.
Few and far between.
Well, better late than never.
The Reds' chore now is to protect this lead over the course of the last 4 innings worth of at-bats for Milwaukee. Certainly 5 should be enough to win the game, you would think. Reds led 5-1 yesterday, ended up losing. Lead 5-0 now thanks to the 2-run homer by Bruce. Segura throws out to Jesus for out number 2. That'll be Suarez. Jimmy Nelson coming off back-to-back solid performances. His last 2 times out, his last time out at any rate, against the Pirates, 1 run in 7 innings. Not today. He's given up 5 runs, 8 hits, 4 2/3 innings. For Suarez, his 2nd of the day. He's 2 for 3. So 3 hits in the inning, 9 of them now in the game for Cincinnati. go the long way to first, throw out Cabrera, put an end to the Cincinnati fifth, but 2-run shot by Jay Bruce, his 20th of the year, has made it 5-0 Reds.
IGS bringing the energy. Take you back to 1995, September 6, 1995. What a magical day in baseball that was when they turned it to 21-31. That would be Cal Ripken breaking Lou Gehrig's record for most consecutive games played by playing in his 2,131st straight game at Camden Yards. He would go on to play in 2,632 consecutive games. And they say records are meant to be broken. There are certain records in Major League Baseball I don't think will be touched, boys, and I think that is one of them.
I could not agree with you more, Jim. 2,632 straight games played. Cal Ripken Jr., the Iron Man indeed. And yeah, I don't see how that will ever be broken.
What a great player he was. I mean, he was one of the guys who kind of was at the onset of redefining the shortstop position from a strictly a defensive position where, you know, middle infield, a good glove no hit to a big guy like that who could hit, not only hit, but hit for power. Very smart player. I ran into Cal Ripken one time in spring training in Florida. And it had been about 10 years since he and I both had played winter ball in Puerto Rico. And there was a number of major leaguers that were playing that year down who went on to have really good major league careers. It happened to be one of those years in Puerto Rico where there were stars on every team.
Lucroy's going to hit this ball over the head of DeJesus, and then the ball rolls along the wall. He's going to end up with a double to start the sixth.
And 10 years after the fact, Cal Ripken sat down and named each team and each lineup player by player by player by memory, and named which of the players had gone on to go in the major leagues and which teams they're with and so on. I just couldn't believe his power of recall.
He and his brother Billy, I believe they own some minor league baseball teams.
And an amateur baseball complex,
yeah.
I think, where he owns that along with, I think, Reggie Sanders in Myrtle Beach, where they have a tremendous place where a lot of teams from all over the country converge in the summertime to play tournaments.
I mean, you look at his bio. He had 16 years in a row, and there were a couple of strike-shortened years in there. 16 years in a row, which he played every inning of every game. 162, 162, 162. I mean, just piled on top of one another. Solid hit into center by Braun. Lucroy had to wait to make sure that thing was going to get up the middle, and it did. And so the first dent in the armor of Michael Lorenzen here in the 6th inning.
Well, he has pitched out of a little bit of damage or a little bit of problem in his last inning when he had 1 out and a couple of runners on base. No problem to get out of that. A little jam job right there by Braun. Lucroy, I'm not sure why he held up, except that he may not have checked the outfielders or where the infielders were stationed.
Now the dangerous Adam Lind. Acquired from the Blue Jays in the offseason. Lind is in the final year of a long-term contract he signed with the Blue Jays back in 2010. Brewers have a team option for him for next year, and he's had a very good year for them. Tough to do, switching over from one league to another where you've really not seen the other league much. He's had a fine year. Double play ball, maybe. Phillips, the second, not in time to first. Run does score. Brewers on the board. It's now 5-1. Credit Lind with an RBI is 78. Out 76 pitches.
Chris Davis is a guy, and if you watch him in the batter's box, we've said it about him an awful lot. I mean, he looks like he's ready to yank something to left field every time he comes. Slightly open stance. And then when he strides, it even becomes more open, which if you're a pitcher or a catcher and you're reading the hitter just by the way he strides, he tells me that he wants a ball on the inner part of the plate, and he's susceptible to the pitches that are low and away. I mean, he'll eventually step in the bucket right here, and you don't want to go where he just left, like there.
Gives the Brewers the 3rd hit in this inning. Moves Lind down to second base. They are getting close now. Milwaukee to bring the tying run to the plate. Jeff Pico's first appearance of the day out of the Reds dugout. Remember to stay with us after every Reds game here in Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live post game brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Complete recap. Visit with the manager. Highlights of the game. All right here on Reds Live post game. Thanks to the good folks at Performance Kings Honda.
Did anybody tell Jeff Pico it was going to be 90 degrees today and the heat index is going to be around 100?
I know of what you speak. He's wearing a jacket.
Now, that's one of those jackets you wear when you want to sweat and lose weight, right?
Right.
Like one of those neoprene deals.
You know, if I was commissioner for a day, one of the things I would change is that the coaches must wear the team jersey. Now, if it's cold and they want to put a jacket on top of that, that's good. But I would make them wear the team jersey.
Now, where would that rank on your list of important things to do?
Right up near the top, buddy.
I like it.
You know what else I would do? Here's another one. I would tell the players, coaches for that matter, I guess too, but mostly it's the players. It doesn't bother me if you wear jewelry, but it must be inside your shirt. And if it cannot stay inside your shirt, then you need to take it off. Nothing more distracting than seeing all that jewelry flying around when those guys are out there on the field.
Now, we've witnessed before where pitchers have been asked to remove the jewelry because it's distracting to the hitter.
You know, if you're the groundskeeper here, Steve Lord, I bet one of the things you would do is mandate that the batters on deck stay near the batters on deck circle. You can see right in front of the Reds on deck circle, and for that matter on the Brewers side, some of the grass has been worn away. They've had to replace it. because of the hitters like to move up in front of that and stand in the grass. You can see it right there where it had to be cut out, replaced. Base hit by Peterson. They're going to send a runner to the plate. He will score. That is Adam Lind. It's been a 2-run 6th inning. Brewers right back in this now at 5-2.
Well, not hit very well by Peterson. It was one of those balls that kind of dinks into the no man's land in shallow right center field. But with a couple in and a couple on, and already one trip to the mound by Jeff Pico, the pitching coach, the trip by Brian Price right here will be to remove Michael Lorenzen.
Certainly the better of the 2 starts he's made since his return from Louisville. One of the better starts he has made with the Reds this year. He is out. And Sam LeCure, and a busy man since returning from the AAA club, will enter the game. This is our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Fan photo to hashtag Ohio Data Strong Fan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast. All brought to you by T-Mobile. Here's today's fan photo of the game. Maggie with friends having a good time out here at the ballpark. Michael Lorenzen's line, 5 1/3, 8 hits, 2 runs thus far. Runners on his responsibility. A walk, 2 strikeouts. 84 pitches thrown in this game. Eligible for the win. Cannot be the loser. Sam LeCure, who's been busy, his 8th appearance since his return from the bats, is into the game.
Yeah, good to see Sam back, and he has normally been pretty good throughout his career in stranding runners that are inherited. That's what you've got right here with 2 on the bags. The Reds overall as a team this year, you know, the bullpen has struggled, no doubt about that. But it is in that area where they really struggled in allowing inherited runners to score. They are the 2nd worst in the league in that category. They've allowed nearly 34% of the inherited runners to score. The worst team is Philadelphia with about 36%.
Segura here represents in this 5-2 game the tying run. Pops it up. Phillips will get it. Umpires call the infield fly.
Big out right there.
Betcha. 2 out.
The teams that are the best at stranding those runners on base, that means their bullpens come in, they inherit runners, they leave them out there when the inning is said and done, are the Pirates, the Giants, or Cardinals.
Those are 3 teams that the Reds still have to play multiple times this year.
And 2 of those 3 teams, of course, look like right now heading into the playoffs. The Giants heading in the wrong direction right now, although not technically out of it. They have created a big gap the way they played recently.
And they're now 7.5 games behind the Dodgers. for the top spot in the NL West. In terms of the wild card, they've now actually fallen behind the Nationals. They're 8 games behind the Cubs.
Don't fall asleep with Herrera at the plate. He hit the home run off of Jumbo Diaz last night in the 9th inning to really ice it for the Brewers. Sam's favorite pitch over the years has been that two-seam fastball that he throws. We call it a front door fastball. He throws inside, really at the belt buckle of the left-handed hitter, and then it has enough backup on it to come back over the plate. Most hitters jump out of the way. See if that's where he's coming in here now.
Had a base hit his last time. Home in both ends of the day-night doubleheader yesterday. And that ball is cut off by Suarez behind second base. Looked like it was ticketed for center field. May have hit off the end of the bat. The Brewers settle for 2. Ticket offers and enjoy face painting, live mascot races, games, and more. Plus, kids 14 and younger will receive a Homer Bailey poster thanks to PNC Bank. For tickets, 513-381-REDS. You can visit select Kroger locations, or you can go to reds.com/family. Reds have next Sunday, the 13th, against the Cardinals, and then the 27th against the Mets. It's their final 2 home Sundays remaining this year. Now both starters out of the game as Jimmy Nelson is lifted by Craig Counsell. New pitcher on for the Brewers is a right-hander, Tyler Cravey.
Cravey was just put back on the roster after being on the disabled list with an arm problem. Made his debut with the Brewers back in June. Then got sent down to the minor leagues, and he has proven himself to be a good ground ball pitcher. He hopes to have a good audition here in the month of September to have him a spot on the ball club next year.
He'll get a pinch hitter, Skip Schumacher, to lead things off in the bottom of the 6th. Schumacher bats for LeCure, who goes 2/3 of an inning of scoreless, hitless baseball. Schumacher still leading the big leagues with 17 pinch hits this year. Overall in the season, Skip is hitting .218 with a dozen runs batted in. So the Reds will have a third pitcher of the afternoon come the 7th. Schumacher on 3 pitches, taken care of by Tyler Cravey for out number 1. Top of the order now, and Jason Bourgeois, who's 0 for 3. So the pitchers of record then at this juncture are the starters. On the Red side, Michael Lorenzen, 5 1/3. 2 runs, 8 hits, a walk, 2 strikeouts through 84 pitches. Jimmy Nelson on the Brewers side, 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts through 95 pitches. Reds leading 5-2 here in the bottom of the 6th. That's strike 3 called to Bourgeois. 1-0-2.
Cravey making it look pretty easy right here. Nice little slider right on the black. Can't do it much better than that. Cravey throws them all. Mainly a 4-seam fastball, slider, curve, and change.
So here is Frazier. Being doubly honored today. Todd Frazier Day is so named by Hamilton County. And he presented, as Jim was talking about earlier, with the Heart and Hustle Award presented by the MLB Players Alumni Association. Player that demonstrates the passion, values, spirit, and tradition of the game on this Reds team. And he is hit by the pitch at 0-1. So the first pitch out of the strike zone in the inning by Cravey hits Frazier.
The Heart, Hustle, and Bruise Award.
That's what it says on the plaque that he received, isn't it?
I mean, if you're a pitcher and you want to hit a batter, that is the exact spot you want to hit him. You want to hit him in the ribs. You don't want to come up around the head or anything. And I'm not saying Cravey had any intention at all of trying to hit him. But, you know, back in the day when pitchers would target certain players, or if you had a grudge to settle, that's the spot, right on the ribs. You can't rub it there. Thereby you get a little extra pain in the process.
Now he comes up and into Votto.
And Votto right back in the batter's box. I mean, he's got a duck to get out of this one. Low bridged him. And I mean, he scampers right back up, taps the plate, and says, come on, here we go.
We see him do that all the time, though. When a pitch comes in on him, he jumps right back in there. Base hit by Votto right on up the middle. Stopping at second is Frazier. So after the first two quickly retired by Cravey, he hits Frazier, gives up the hit to Votto, who now is hitting 9 in a row.
Well, on base 3 times today, a couple of walks and his base hit up the middle. It's almost like Votto picks a spot before he comes up to the at bat, and he sees where the infield is playing. He's got a spot right back through the middle. So I'll use that opening to get a base hit and keep the inning alive. Or keep the line moving. You know who instituted that line around here was when he was manager, Jerry Narron. That was one of his favorite lines. Keep the line moving.
Really, I always thought one of his favorite lines was, "Will Morty?"
Well, he did that every day during the radio show. He was the original baseball guy who has been imitated perfectly over all the years by Jim Day. And I wonder if Jim Day has had a chance to talk to Jerry Narron. We'll ask him next inning.
Yeah, we were on a flight one time with Jim and talking about Jerry Narron, and Jim did his Jerry Narron imitation. Somebody was walking up the aisle, turned around and said, "That's Jerry Narron." They knew exactly what he was doing. The baseball guy.
Cravey was starting to make it look easy there by striking out the first 2 batters, one swinging, one looking, Shoemaker and Bourgeois. And now he is in a predicament here with, hard to say the hottest Reds hitter, but you almost have to say that with Phillips. He's got 3 knocks on the day. Had 4 in the first game yesterday. Not a bad crowd today here at the ballpark. A lot of them have gone underneath the awnings and the cover so that they stay out of the direct sunlight. They're in the shade.
Yeah, they moved over to this first base side. Roller to the right side, and Jeanette will throw Phillips out. The Reds threaten but fail in the bottom of the 6th, but take a 5-2 lead into the 7th.
For that day's action. It's Reds Live, the pregame edition, and it's brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. This is where it gets interesting as we move forward here, coming up as far as who's going to pitch in the month of September the rest of the way. You've got DeSclafani and Iglesias going tomorrow, but Wednesday it's listed as TBA for the Reds against Pittsburgh. It is Brandon Finnegan's day to pitch. He's one of those left-handers that came over in the Cueto deal. And Brian Price talked about how they're going to have to mix and match, and with guys reaching their innings limit, etc. And I think on Wednesday is the day it gets interesting around here.
What do you think is going to happen, Jim?
Well, my first instinct would say that they were, with Louisville's season being over, that Brandon Finnegan would be the guy, but I'm not sure he's stretched out enough. They would have to go into it knowing that he might only give them 5 innings, and not sure they want to do that. So really up in the air.
The Reds have talked a little bit more from Brian Price, I guess, than anyone else about going to the potential of a 6-man rotation. Something that could happen over the course of the final 4 weeks of the season.
Well, they've had a lot of starts recently where the starter has not gone any more than 5 innings anyway. Today being a great example. Michael Lorenzen goes out and gives the Reds 5 1/3. So, and that's considered one of his better recent outings. So, you know, this is what you get when you're running out of a rookie rotation of any kind. If you can get 5 out of him, you ought to be happy.
New man in here, definitively not a rookie for the Reds, Ryan Matthews. Relieves Sam LeCure, who went 2/3 of an inning, did his job, coming on, getting the inherited runners, keeping them on base. So now a 5-2 Reds lead here into the 7th for Matthews. Started the year with the Angels in their organization, claimed by the Reds. Former Nationals pitcher, did a pretty good job some years ago with the Washington club. He gets a pinch hitter for Cravey. Jason Rogers hit a pinch hit in the game last night. He also had 3 hits in the opener yesterday. Good year average wise at Colorado Springs. Been up and down a couple of times with this Milwaukee team this year. He'll test Phillips. Brandon will throw him out. A good start for Matthews in the 7th. By the way, we were talking about the Reds minor league teams and which teams are going to make the playoffs. And Chris, you mentioned Pensacola. They are a half a game ahead with 2 games to go going into today. There's today and tomorrow left in that season. So the AA team trying to make the playoffs in the second half. And the Daytona Tortugas, the first-year Florida State League affiliate of the Reds, they have already clinched a spot. They have clinched a playoff spot with a very fine second half. In fact, here's the Tortugas celebration photo after they clinched a playoff spot earlier this week. The note that we were given said that they will start the playoffs against the Clearwater team on Tuesday, September the 8th. They'll host game 1. So good luck to the Tortugas into the playoffs out of the Florida State League, and hopefully Pensacola in the Southern League will get in as well.
I think that's really a good sign that you have a couple of ball clubs. Hopefully every one of your teams up and down the minor league system is right there at the top of the standings, because I think that along with developing players, I know there's a lot of different opinions on this, and this is only mine, but having come up in the Yankee organization, we won at every level we were at, and we were expected to win. And I know that the managers are trying to develop talent, so was the organization. But when we took the field, we expected to win the ball game, not wanted to win the game. And I think that carries over as you move up one level to another, all the way to the major leagues. I mean, if you're coming out of a system where every one of the teams that you've been playing on has been a last place team and you can't wait for the end of the season to get there, that's not the type of attitude that you're trying to develop. So I'm happy to see those 2 teams that are in the hunt, and really had hoped to see more Reds ball clubs year after year. I've got a handful of minor league rings. I trade them all for 1 major league ring in the World Series. But I can tell you that the players that you're around, when you finish the season and when you finish on top, you go home with a whole different taste in your mouth than when you're finishing your 15 games out of first place.
And that's a good point to make, because there are a lot of systems who just do, as you said, is push the prospects and try to develop them and forego everything else. But the ultimate goal up here is the winning.
And it also helps the owners of the minor league franchises that you have, because you're going to have more attendance, you're going to have extra games, a chance for them to make a few more dollars on the season, and it enhances the relationship that you have with your minor league affiliates. And I think it's even more important now than ever before, because of the growing I guess with profiles, what we call them a showcase player. Players that have come up through high school and through college and have never really aligned themselves over a long-term time, especially in the summers, with teams that are playing for something from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So many team players now are drifting from one team to another. You know, you're going to play in a showcase, and the next thing you're going to be in the, you know, the area code games. Then you're going to come back and play in perfect game showcase, and you never really understand what the winning is all about. You're going up there trying to hit a 3-run home run because there's a bunch of scouts in the stands. You're trying to break 90 on a radar gun because there are a bunch of scouts there. But it's the little things that end up winning big ball games, and I think you learn those as a youth. And those are the lessons that you take with you as you get older, and I think it'll help, you know, make it a lot easier when you get to the big league level if you know what that's all about. Time for me to get off the soapbox.
I liked it. I thought that was good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, that's what Matthews employs here in the 7th inning. He sets the side down in order for the Brewers. Stretch time, and we'll keep it right here at the ballpark on this Labor Day weekend and join in with the Cranky Sisters, who'll be leading us in the singing of God Bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please stand, kindly remove your hats, and face the American flag. Major League Baseball, the Reds and the Brewers salute the men and women of our armed forces, as well as those who serve to protect in our local police and fire departments. At this time, please help us honor these brave men and women and all our veterans of service, and welcome the Cranky Sisters as they lead us in the singing of God Bless America.
biggest names in the UFC will face off as coaches. Interim featherweight champion Conor McGregor and Uriah Faber join an all-new season of The Ultimate Fighter. The mayhem begins Wednesday only on Fox Sports 1. Five-2 Reds into the bottom of the 7th inning. New pitcher on for the Brewers to face the Redlegs Bruce, DeJesus, and Suarez is David Goforth.
Now, we've seen this guy a couple of times in this series. 11 games overall in his major league career. He's a rookie. Went to college in Mississippi, born and raised in Meridian, Mississippi. And he will face Jay Bruce, DeJesus, and Suarez. Boy, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters in the Reds lineup have been on base every time but twice.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, isn't it?
That would make them 9 for 11 in times on base versus plate appearances today. When you're a manager and you draw up a lineup and your 3, 4, 5 guys do that, you pat yourself on the back.
No question. 3-hitter Votto, walk, strikeout hit. Phillips, number 4 hitter, hit, ground out. Bruce, hit. 2 singles and a 2-run homer today for Jay Bruce. Big day for him. Putting him at the 20 home run mark. Gets this ball in the air and caught out in left field by Davis. Bruce, by the way, when he hit that home run his last time up, you mentioned 202 for him in his career. He is now 9th and closing in on 8th all time in Reds history in home runs. He's 1 away now from tying Eric Davis, Eric the Red, for 8th with 203. And outside shot, he could reach Ken Griffey Jr. in 7th at 210 before the season is over. Johnny Bench, the all-time leader. Seventh time in his 8-year career for Jay Bruce that he's hit 20 or more home runs. The only time he failed that was last year when he hit 18. And of course, he missed a good chunk of the year by that knee injury. DeJesus 0 for 3. Goforth will throw him out. So there are 2 down. Reds have action in the bullpen. The 8th inning man, J.J. Hoover, is throwing. Things didn't quite go as well as he had hoped yesterday in the 8th. He gave up that home run ball to Elian Herrera. Hopefully better things in store for him today. Here's Suarez with 2 out.
Now, both these ball clubs, after this series is concluded, they will see each other one more time. But they will also have a little bit of a say on what goes on in the Central Division and in the National League as far as the wild card goes. Milwaukee plays the St. Louis Cardinals 6 times. They play the Cubs 6 times, including the last 3 games of the season in Milwaukee against the Cubbies.
Bruce and Phillips. Here's Jay with an RBI single in the first inning to put the Reds on the board. That's an infield hit. That play was reviewed later. Bruce, a 2-run homer in the fifth, his 202nd career home run. And Brandon Phillips, 2-run homer in the third, number 11 for Brandon. He continues his hot second half. All part of a 5-run, 10-hit afternoon for Cincinnati. Our Honda game summary sees the Reds leading 5-2 through 7. Couple of changes for the Reds. Jason Bourgeois moves from center field to left field. Ryan Lamar is now in center. And the new man on the mound for the Reds is J.J. Hoover, with Ivan DeJesus Jr. exiting.
Now, the original catcher, Ramon Cabrera, will stay in the ball game to catch Hoover as you go forward. And this is a big inning here for the Reds, obviously, because you got a 3-run lead. The 8th inning is when you've got the middle of the lineup coming up and the most dangerous hitters. And you see this happen a lot, where the closer is almost always reserved for the 9th inning, no matter who the scheduled hitters are. But Hoover faces 3, 4, and 5, Braun, Lind, and Chris Davis.
Braun has a hit. He's 1 for 3 in the series. 3 hits and 7 at bats. Hammers this ball pretty well to left, and how about that? The first batter in 2 consecutive appearances for J.J. Hoover against the Brewers takes him deep. Yesterday, Elian Herrera, and here today, Ryan Braun hits number 25.
Well, after getting behind in the count, he flips up a curveball right there, and Braun just goes out and gets it. Actually, it looked like a pretty decent pitch, but when you get behind, you're just putting the hitter on notice. So you're coming in there with a strike, and not likely a fastball on the inner part of the plate, because you don't want to make a mistake there and miss out over the dish. So normally you're going away with a 2-0 pitch. And Braun was looking for it out there.
7th time in 9 years in the big leagues now for Braun, as he has hit 25 or more home runs. The 255th career home run for him, the Milwaukee all-time franchise leader. So now it's a 2-run game. It was 5-0 Reds after 5. Brewers club has battled back. 2 in the 6th. 1 so far here in the 8th. Another man capable hitting out of the park up there now, Lind, and another one on deck. Chris Davis. Aroldis Chapman is up and throwing in the bullpen. We saw the other day, really for the first time this year in Chicago, that Brian Price was willing to bring Chapman into the game before the 9th inning. Did that in Chicago on Monday to, in the end, save a 13-6 Reds win. Deep toward right center, but playable for Bruce. On the track, he hauls it in. A couple of well-struck balls by Braun and Lind against Hoover. Here's Chris Davis. Struck out, popped up, single today. 2 for 7 in the series. Lorenzen went 5 1/3, 2 runs, 8 hits. He's the pitcher of record for the Reds. LeCure 2/3 of an inning. Nice job to get through the 6th. Matthews a perfect 7th. Hoover now in the 8th, and he disposes of Davis with a strikeout.
Good spot right there. Boy, what a difference it makes when you're ahead 0-2 as opposed to being behind a hitter. 2 balls and no strikes. You get him to chase, and Davis likes to expand that zone. He'll chase a lot when you get ahead of him.
So now it's the lefty Shane Peterson. Singled in a run back in the 6th inning. Scoring Adam Lind, making it a 5-2 game at the time. Homered here, of course, last night. Corey Knebel, right-hander, throwing in the Milwaukee bullpen. Chapman, lefty, throwing in the Reds pen. Another day game here tomorrow for the Redlegs. 1:10 start against the Pirates on Labor Day 2015. After the home run, 3 in order for J.J. Hoover in the 8th. The Reds have led from the get-go in this game. Led 1-0 after 1, 3-0 after 3, 5-0 after 5. Lead 5-3 now into the bottom of the 8th inning. J.J. Hoover did the job after giving up the Braun home run. It's still a 2-run Reds advantage. David Goforth, who retired the Reds in order in the 7th, goes back to work here in the bottom of the 8th. He gets Cabrera. Then Lamar, who's in the 9 spot after he came in as part of a double switch to take over in center. Then the top of the order, and Bourgeois. Cabrera in search of that first big league hit. He's 0 for 3 today, 0 for 4 in the series. Jeanette, wide throw, and Cabrera is on base for the first time in the big league. Miscue on the throw by Scooter Jeanette. Cabrera is on. Goes down as the second error of the game for Milwaukee.
Really wild throw right there for Cabrera. First time on base as a major leaguer, as you said, and a special moment for him. Interesting, really. Cabrera's father, Alex Cabrera, was a star player in Japan. He also played in the 2000s for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and then he went back to Japan to play another 11 seasons.
Tom is familiar with him.
Yep. And actually, he and Ramon have been able to play against each other in the Venezuelan League after the 2013 season. His dad is still in his young 40s, so he's still a young guy. Played for La Guaira. Alex did. And Ramon played for Caracas. La Guaira plays its home games in Caracas. The Tiburones.
Those names and cities just roll off your tongue, don't they?
Well, I happened to play for La Guaira one year, a long time ago. And Ramon Cabrera originally signed with the Pirates. Won the Florida State batting title in 2011. Ended up in the Tigers organizations. And the Reds signed him back in early December. It's nice to see a young guy like Cabrera getting a shot here at the major leagues, having a really solid year after having a real solid year down in AAA. MVP of the Louisville Bats. Ryan Lamar spent a lot of time obviously doing the same thing, looking to get his bat working a little bit.
Yeah, he had his first hit against the Diamondbacks here back on the 23rd of August, but from an offensive standpoint, things have not gone overly well for him up here. Lamar entering this game is 1 for 18 at the big league level as a hitter with 7 strikeouts. Leadoff man aboard in the bottom of the 8th. 5-2 Reds.
Well, Lamar was an all-around athlete when he grew up in Michigan, and Jackson, Michigan. That's about 45 minutes from Ann Arbor. He was a leading tackler on his high school football team, which won back-to-back state championships. He was a star player on the hockey team and a second-round draft pick by the Reds in 2010. That was after he attended University of Michigan.
He played collegiate hockey up there. Played baseball up there, but
I don't know about
good hockey
I'm
player.
sure Michigan has a pretty good hockey team.
He's a 3-sport man.
It was exactly a year ago, or very close to being a year ago, that the Reds actually released Ryan Lamar and ended up re-signing him to a minor league deal.
That's a second big league hit for Ryan Lamar. Solid contact there. And he's aboard, moving Cabrera down to second base.
Picked on a high one right there. Lamar did to pick up a base hit. Solidly hit in the left field for Ryan.
Reds now have amassed 11 hits. And to add to a 5-3 lead here in the bottom of the 8th. Turn over the batting order. Bring up Bourgeois, who started in center. Now is in left. 0 for 4 today. 1 for 13 in this series.
Yeah, he's got to figure he's due, Jason.
In a very good road trip. At 8 hits and a .333 average, including a leadoff home run in that game in Chicago. He's been the primary man out in center field with Billy Hamilton's absence. Reds figure to get Hamilton back on Tuesday, along with Brennan Bosch, both out playing in the minor leagues right now, recovering from their injuries. Those seasons will end at the minor league level Regular season wise, talked about Pensacola, the possibility of making the playoffs down in the Southern League. We figured to have Hamilton and Bosch back up here as of Tuesday, both playing again today, both played yesterday in the minor leagues. No balls now and 2 strikes.
Well, they had 2 chances, Bourgeois did, to get that bunt down. He did not do that. So I doubt very much that Brian Frazier will keep it on him being an everyday player. He might keep a bunt on a pitcher if he comes down 0-2. Red's trying to get runners in scoring position to play a little add-on.
Taking a shot down the right field line, but that ball slices foul.
Nice grab.
You bet. And he gives it to a young fan. Even better.
Well, there's a guy right behind him with a glove, so if he didn't get it with his bare hand, he had backup. Very impressive.
Into right. He threw the bat at the ball and got himself a base hit, Jason Bourgeois. And that loads him up with nobody out here in the bottom of the 8th. So as good as Goforth was in the 7th, things not going his way here in the 8th. Oh, you're right. He was due.
Well, he threw his arms up in jubilation after he saw that ball land into right field, realizing he did not want to go back to the dugout after being assigned to lay down a bunt, unable to do that. But he just takes a pretty good pitch right there, and this is what Bourgeois has done a lot, is foul a lot of balls off to stay alive. Now he keeps that ball in, didn't hit it well, but man, you know, when you strike out, you don't even give yourself a chance to do that, which is get a big break.
Brewers had Corey Knebel throwing in the bullpen. Greg Counsell stays here with Goforth. Bases loaded, nobody out.
We're about due for some fireworks, aren't we?
How about it? Yeah, it's just after the top of the hour. Brewers will get 1 at second. They will get another at first. A run does score. That's Cabrera, making it 6-3, giving Frazier the run batted in, number 79. Pardon me, no RBI. Double play was turned. Remember to join the Reds in saluting our heroes on Friday, September the 11th, during Police and Fire Appreciation Night. Arrive early for special pregame ceremonies. Plus, stick around after the game for a postgame fireworks show presented by Corson Fire and Security. Tickets start as low as $12. Get your tickets by calling 513-381-REDS or visit select Kroger locations or go to reds.com/tickets.
Well, I'm surprised. I mean, maybe not surprised. They're going to walk Joey Votto right here, as hot as he is, but that'll make 3 walks on the day for Votto. They're going to bring up a guy in Brandon Phillips who's got 3 hits on a day, including a home run. Votto needs another walk like he needs another Mercedes.
Does he have a Mercedes?
I don't know. Don't they all have a Mercedes nowadays?
They may. Joey draws the intentional. Phillips will have the chance. One, two, three, 4 times on base today for Votto. That is the 15th time this year that he's been on base 4 times in a game. 13 since the All-Star break.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, that is really an amazing statistic right there on Joey Votto.
See the all-time Reds record below that with Pete. You guys talked about everything out there at Florence the other night. Did you talk about that?
We did not. We covered just about everything Pete did in his career in a roast, although it is difficult to roast a guy that has more hits in baseball than anybody in history. But he has some openings.
You capitalized on, I hear? Yeah.
You think?
Who were the guys that did the roast? You and who else?
Well, John Warden, who was a former major leaguer, with Denny McClain with the Detroit Tigers here, and Mo Egger.
Okay.
Local radio personality, Andy Furman, another more of a local radio legend.
And now national radio personality.
And Jeff Picoro.
Oh, Pick was out there.
Pick did a nice job.
Pick's a mainstay in the winter on the Rubber Chicken Tour, isn't he? There's your 4 o'clock fireworks.
Somebody going to sleep over there.
Here's what you were talking about earlier.
The 3, 4, and 5 hitters, 7 for 10, 2 home runs, 5 ribbies, 5 runs, and 3 walks.
I wanted to give Frazier, who's not in that group, an RBI earlier, but not on the double play. But a little bit more comfort level for Aroldis Chapman when he goes out there in the ninth.
I'll tell you one thing, they did not walk Joey Votto so that you can walk Brandon Phillips behind him. So a 2-1 count. You got to figure here next couple of pitches Phillips will get something to put in action. Goforth's a hard thrower. He has been known to throw the ball as hard as nearly 100 miles an hour. That last one at 96, but he's clearly overthrowing it right now.
Brandon takes ball 4.
That's not an easy thing to do.
They're loaded for Bruce, and here comes Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach of the Brewers. He's had 2 singles, a 2-run homer, 3 RBIs on the day. They meet on the mound. Let's take a look at our DirecTV standings. Best records in Major League Baseball. 2 of them will be in here before the Reds go on the road again. The Cardinals and the Pirates. Cardinals have the best record in the big leagues. Kansas City 5 games behind them. Then Pittsburgh. Then the Cubs. How about 3 of the top 4 within the Central Division of the National League? The Blue Jays, the Dodgers, Toronto, a game and a half ahead of the Yankees in the East. People are touting a Kansas City, St. Louis World Series again this year for the first time since '85.
Now I wonder if they're beginning to wonder or worry about Johnny Cueto out in Kansas City. He had another very rough outing. In fact, he only went 3 innings in that game, gave up 5 runs against the Chicago White Sox.
What is that, 3 in a row now that he has labored? Maybe even 4. After those back-to-back, he had the complete game. He had an 8-inning outing, and boy, since that time, not as good.
And usually he's a guy that would own day games.
That's right. 2-0 to Bruce.
Good hitting count right here. Nowhere to put him.
here. The inning is over. Reds get one unearned. And into the ninth, lead by 3. WOW at the Holy Grail. It's your chance to answer Reds trivia, win prizes, be part of Reds Live. Fun starts Friday night at 6 at the Holy Grail with Mo Egger and Christine Sheltrout. Boats ready for the big fireworks show after the game. The Riverfest Cincinnati fireworks show tonight. First shells will go off a little bit after 9. I guess you'll be down on the river.
I don't know about that. You know, unless you have a place to go watch, you got to get there awfully early to stake them out. Although you probably have your spot already staked out. Diane there with the lawn chairs probably since about 8:30 this morning, where you dropped her off, said, "Don't move, honey. We got a good spot on the river and want to come right back and get it again." Is that the way it works at the Kelch household?
Did you see us down there? How do you know all that, those details?
Speculating, having gotten to know you very well over the years.
Yeah, we'll be ready. We will be ready.
Well, Aroldis. Where art thou been, Aroldis? It's been a while since he's been in a ball game. You got to go back to when the Reds were in Chicago, where he did pick up a save, actually a couple of saves, and then once in Milwaukee. So 3 saves on the recent road trip for Aroldis Chapman. Nothing here so far as appearances back in Cincinnati.
Trying to nail down this one for the Reds, trying to snap a 6-game home losing streak to this Brewers club. Ryan Pena is in there to catch Chapman. '56th appearance for Chapman this year. His top appearance years, he appeared in 68 games in 2012 and 2013. 54 last year. He surpassed that this year. And he gets Segura on strikes. Good start to the 9th inning. Here's Elian Herrera. Lifetime 0 for 2 against Chapman with a couple of strikeouts. Turns around, bats from the right side. Starters are still the pitchers of record in this game. That means Lorenzen on the Red side. Right now the leading side. Nelson on the Milwaukee side, the trailing side. Phillips He throws out Herrera. 2 down. Now Hernan Perez will bat for Goforth. Zeroing in on his 28th save is Chapman. Hernan Perez started the first game yesterday. Appeared in the second game. 1 ball and 1 strike. Perez on the year at 282 with a home run. He went around. Reds are a strike away from a victory here in this series wrap-up against the Brewers. Got it. Reds win. 6 in a row on the losing side. Goes by the wayside against this Milwaukee club as they win it over the Brewers by the final score of 5-3.
Well, the guys we've been looking for all game long. That out number 27 comes up and Aroldis Chapman puts him away down 100 miles an hour. Our Cholula fastball strikeout of the day, and here it is one more time, brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. So the Reds don't let the Brewers get out of town until they win at least one against this Brew crew. They'll see them one more time when the Reds go into Milwaukee. But in the meantime, boys go home and get some rest and be waiting for the Pittsburgh Pirates to come to town.
Nice to see. Michael Lorenzen gets the victory. His first win since the 21st of June when he defeated the Marlins here. He is now 4-8. Chapman with his 28th save. Jimmy Nelson, the loser. He is now 11-11. And the Reds win it 6-3. We'll be back with more in a moment.